Hi, I'm John Twist of University Motors, and I'm going to show you something really different on an MGB engine. This is a race car kind of trick. First of all, Trevor's going to show you what we just did here, and that is to put on a speedy sleeve. See on the crankshaft here, see how the surface is really nice all the way across? Well, that's a cylinder. That's an actual cylinder that you drive on. The annulus is about 10 thousandths wide, and you drive it on from the back and then peel the back of it off. It's got a rough edge to it, so when I go to put the seal on, I'm going to have to put some tape around here before I put the rear cover back on. Here's the additional little thing on here. You guys who put on 5 speeds will recognize this. This is to accept the spigot bush from the 5-speed gearbox. Anyway, Trevor's going to come around to the side here. And of course, I put my wrench down over here. I'm going to turn the engine, and of course you can see the crankshaft move and everything. Now some people go to the expense of having their engine balanced to the nearest gram. And so they're working very carefully to make sure that all the counterweights are matched with the piston and rod weights and everything is all balanced out. But as soon as you put it in the car and start running it, it's all covered with oil. And no longer is it in balance. So some people use a crank scraper. I'll show you that in a second. The first thing you do, though, if you're really cool, is you knife edge. This is called knife edging. It's pretty blunt, but you put this chisel edge on the crankshaft so that as it's coming around, the blunt end of the crank, which you can see here, this is not knife edged. That's just the blunt side of the crank. When the crank is running clockwise and it's coming around, this edge is hitting oil. And this knife edge is to deflect the oil in both ways so that you can pick up your last 1/100th of a horsepower. So both sets of counterweights are knife edged. These are knife edged here. You can see my dirty finger here. Now, that's not all that's cool. Here we have the crank scraper. That fits between the sump and the engine. And now when the crankshaft is coming around, you see how closely this runs, and it scrapes the oil. See how closely this runs here? See that? See how closely it runs? It scrapes the oil off the crank so that the counterweights don't carry as much oil on them as they might. Does this really increase performance? Do you really get an extra horsepower of energy available at the rear wheels because it's scraping the oil off up here? Well, the racers do everything that they can. Of course, the most important part of the race car is the nut behind the steering wheel. But aside from that, when you're trying to make power, you don't want to lose power. And this is just one of those little tricks. I just wanted to show this to you because I'm doing it. I'm in the process of working with it. Trevor's going to come around. You can see the front pulley. This is obviously for the serpentine belt for the Moss supercharger. That is the solution to higher power, is the Moss supercharger. So a couple of more tricks to extracting more power out of your engine. Well, here's the Moss blower. I mean, this is absolutely it, right? I mean, this is the Eaton blower. It just, oh my gosh, and it just pumps the power out. But here we have an exhaust manifold whose inside is just as smooth as the outside. This is done by extrude honing. I don't know how they do it exactly. My guess is they hook up some sort of pipes to here and put beach sand in there, and a little bit of water, and just keep pushing sand through this for a week or something. And by the time it's all said and done, the inside surface, of course it's all filthy dirty with black, but the inside surface, you can feel it. Normally it's all rough, but this is all nice and smooth, which means, of course, that there's less restriction to getting the gases out of the engine. So those are just the couple of things that I wanted to show you. I've got this whole car apart here. This makes it go faster too. You put a little, little paint from the car on the valve cover always makes it look a little nicer. Anyway, those are just a couple of very expensive tricks that will get you another tenth, quarter of a horsepower. Anyway, thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.